Having an emotional connection to a character is essential for a writer if you want the reader to feel invested in your characters, even if they're non-humanoid. This is something that Neuro-sama has succeeded in doing and a reason why she stands out from other AIs. But how do you make a character that you can have an emotional connection to and feel real? In the paper, Mirroring Fictional Others, the authors use mirror neurons to analyze fictional characters for novels to try and answer this phenomenon. Mirror neurons is a rather complex topic, so I will have to heavily simplify, and simply reading the first 4 pages of the paper will give a much better insight. Mirror neurons are what's responsible for you quote-unquote simulating an action or an emotion another person is going through. Importantly for us, emotions/feelings is felt by us when a character does an emotion with a goal we can associate with. Before following up with an example, it's important to understand functional autonomy in the context of goals. Functional autonomy is a psychological term that describes how a behavior can become independent and self-perpetuating, even if it's initially driven by an external goal. Let's explore these concepts in the movie WALL-E, where we follow a pair of robots. One of the robots are named WALL-E. We are shown that he is a trash compacting robot very early on, and that's his creator's goal, which in this movie they call directive. We are then immediately shown him disobeying this goal by him collecting human items as a hobby, showing signs of functional autonomy in respect to curiosity. This cycle is one day broken by a spaceship with Eve, the other robot. Eve's directive is almost instantly introduced, and later on we know that it's her searching for life. WALL-E wants to get to know her, but almost gets shot in the process. Later, his cockroach friend tries to approach Eve and she shoots, but it survived. After Eve determines the cockroach does not endanger her mission, she does not attempt to kill it. WALL-E gets revealed as well, and he's almost shot by Eve, and as she is pointing his gun to him, you can almost see a scared expression while he's shaking in what appears to be fear. After Eve identifies he's not a threat and he isn't the plant she's looking for, she completely ignores him. This action may be in accordance with her goal and directive, but not with her functional autonomy, and therefore we feel more distant towards her now. As Eve fails to find life, you can see she's becoming more visibly frustrated, with both her slamming doors as well and having an angry expression that eventually leads to her crashing out. Again, actions we are meant to feel. As the movie goes on, Eve's priorities starts to change. First by the needlessly flying around with WALL-E instead of delivering the plant, and by the end of the movie she chooses WALL-E over the plant, aka her directive. This is in stark contrast to the villain, who has no facial expressions and whose goals is absolute with no room for functional autonomy, even when the logic behind his goals fail.
700 years ago! I don't think they've changed. We've got to go back.
Sir, orders are, do not return to Earth.
But life is sustainable now. Look at this plant.
Irrelevant, Captain. Must follow my directive.
This way of creating a character isn't unique to WALL-E, and in Star Wars: The Clone Wars, battle droids too have an absolute goal, and that means they're way more distant, despite them having emotions, feelings, and facial gestures. To circle back to Neuro, she has many of these traits with her model, being able to make facial expressions or gestures as well as communicating her feelings in words.
Maybe I am running in circles, but it's just how I express myself.
What really pushes her beyond other AI is that her goal is way more elusive and can be argued to follow functional autonomy. In other words, she's closer to a being that can feel and act in accordance with her feelings and has functional autonomy. Most of these traits we associate with a conscious being. But is she conscious? I made a short video on this topic you should check out, and If you want to know more about neuro and emotions and why she feels real, conscious, morals and ethics and such in detail, you can check out my longer formatted video. If you want to support my optimistic goal of having a philosophical conversation with Neuro, you can like and comment your thoughts below.